So today we're talking about how to be here and to be now. We know that our body and our nervous system cannot tell time, and it gets stuck in moments of distress that we've had throughout our life. And so now, as we're really learning to drop into our body, today we're going to start to invite a little bit of that expansion back into our system. Hi, friends. Welcome back to part 4 of our 6-part masterclass on how to feel better by reducing our anxiety and improving our mental health. My name is Keuilian. I am an associate marriage and family therapist trained in somatic experiencing and EMDR therapy. And I'm so happy you're back. And we are continuing to put one more piece in place in this journey towards feeling more connected to your body, feeling that anxiety really go down, and just opening yourself to more life, more vitality, allowing yourself to access that radiance that's here and that knowledge that you're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. And that we are discovering just more layers of ourselves so that we can just be more comfortable in our own skin. So we've covered a lot in the first 3 parts. We've talked about, why do I feel this anxiety? My body's unsafe. We talked about finding that pause button, doing 5 minutes of meditation a day, which really just means 5 minutes of focusing on breath and drawing our attention back every time it wanders as we do these sets and reps to build this capacity for the pause. And then in part 3, we started to drop into our body and we took our awareness and we put it onto what's happening. What are the sensations that we're feeling in our body? And we talked about how the anxiety and that red and blue state feel like contraction. It's not comfortable. And this is what we want to get out of the cycle of just feeling so contracted. And so today we're talking about how to be here and to be now. We know that our body and our nervous system cannot tell time, and it gets stuck in moments of distress that we've had throughout our life. And so now, as we're really learning to drop into our body, learning to feel into the contraction, today we're going to start to invite a little bit of that expansion back into our system. So how do we start to invite our body to start to move towards that green, that ventral vagal place where our body knows we're safe, we are able and available to connect with others, to enjoy, to savor, have motivation, to access our potential. So what we're going to do today to take that next step is we're dropping into our body, and then we're inviting our body to notice where we are, right? Because your body doesn't know that you're in this present moment. But because we have this power of our awareness, where your thoughts go, right? You've directed it to your body. You've really dropped in and noticed the anxiety sensation, whether that be stomach discomfort, feelings of pressure or constriction in your chest, your throat, your jaw, your heart rate. You're noticing all this. You're with it. And then here's what we're doing this week. Now, we are going to essentially split our awareness, hold 2 things in our awareness, which sounds tricky, but I know you can do this, especially with some practice, because we're rewiring our brain. We are going to notice the anxiety sensation and also notice the bottoms of our feet. So my feet, I'm wearing some really comfortable slides. They're really nice and squishy. And I'm lightly pressing the bottoms of my feet into the soles of my shoe. I'm noticing how solid the ground is beneath my feet. I'm noticing how my quads and the muscles in my leg are slightly contracted to apply that pressure through the bottom of my feet. And I'm noticing a little tightness in my jaw at being on camera and at wanting to convey this message in the best way to you. This slight feeling of a little bit of red. And I'm holding both. And I'm communicating through my split awareness that I'm here and my feet are on the ground. And I'm also feeling this slight tightness. So I want to invite you to try that. So in this moment, let's drop into your body. So remember, when we drop into our body, we can kind of picture like we're doing this scan, like we're in some kind of scanner, and we're starting at the top of our head, and we're going down, and we're just noticing what are the body sensations. Is there any sign that there's a little bit of activation in my nervous system? There's a little bit of fight or flight. What do I feel? Finding that sensation, hanging out with that sensation a little bit. And we can get curious. We can wonder, like, have I felt this before? And a lot of these anxiety symptoms in our body are very familiar. Maybe we haven't been really focusing on them because they're uncomfortable. We have this natural disconnect between brain and body, just the way we live, modern man. And so it's familiar, but it's probably not familiar to have all of your attention on it, but hanging out there and noticing it. What is it? What's happening in your body? And now, kind of splitting that awareness to also notice that your feet are pushing down on the ground. And if you're not seated with your feet on the ground, find a way to get something solid under your feet and lightly press them into the ground. And then noticing where you're seated, if you are seated. Noticing how your sit bones are connected to the chair and noticing gravity. And this can be funny because we're always experiencing gravity here on Earth, right? But pausing and noticing how that feels on your body, being held down, having my weight through my sit bones on the chair. Just really, we're doing this awareness to body. We're making this connection. And every time we do it, we're making it easier and stronger. And also noticing the anxiety symptom, holding both. I can both be seated here on my chair with my feet on the ground under gravity in this moment and be experiencing a little tightness in my jaw. And I can hold both. And I'm nudging my system and I'm showing my system that I'm here. I'm here now. I'm not in the past in a moment of distress. In this moment, the only distress is trying to articulate myself in a way that's effective, really wanting to connect. So this week, your focus is on giving your body the experience of being in the here and now. So noticing your feet, noticing how you're seated. These are great ways to start getting that awareness. And then the ninja move of noticing the anxiety symptom and noticing your experience of being grounded. And here's some other ways to do this. Hey, I'm here and I'm now. So focusing on breath and heartbeat. So lungs filling. And then as you exhale, there's an opportunity to really tune into heartbeat, right? We all have lungs that are working and we all have hearts that are beating. And that's what allows us to be here in this moment. And so bringing our awareness, just the power of where you put your mind, where you put your awareness, putting that on this experience of being alive in this moment, filling your lungs with air, noticing how that feels. And then on the exhale, really tuning in, feeling that heart, that steady heart that's there, that's keeping you here in this moment. And if you're seated with your back against a backrest, as you breathe in, noticing the movement of the back of your ribs against the back of your chair as you breathe in. And noticing that sensation, that movement as you breathe out, and tuning into heart. And this is another way to just connect with our body in the present moment. Another way is a little bit of self-touch. So especially if you find yourself really getting caught up in your thoughts, and when we are suffering from anxiety and suffering from this dysregulation of our nervous system, with all this pent-up survival energy, we can have racing thoughts, and we can even forget that we're in a body, right? And so if you find yourself just overwhelmed with your thoughts and having difficulty connecting your body to the present moment, doing this, right? Feeling your arms, taking your hands and squeezing your arms and looking at yourself, and doing this on your thighs and squeezing your legs, and just feeling this and looking down and just noticing, this is my body container, right? This is my container. This is me. And having this self-touch, like, oh, this is me in this moment. I'm here in this body, right? Connecting ourselves to our body and to this moment. And just taking a moment to do that. And sometimes we can just kind of end it with this if we need just a little supportive self-hug, and just reminding ourselves, like, this is me. I'm here. I can feel this. Another really great way to coax your body into this present moment is what we call orienting. And so consciously in the pause, taking in what's around you and letting your eyes and your neck wander like they have a mind of their own. And this is a really key part of our physical body being able to feel safe in this moment. First of all, noticing what this moment looks like, right? Getting ourselves out of our head and out of our internal experience, and orienting. Like, oh, this is what's happening around me. This is where I am. This is how far things are from me. This gives your body, your nervous system, feedback from the environment. And what your nervous system is doing, unbeknownst to you, this is happening under the surface at all moments of your life, is you're scanning for danger. You're scanning for things that are out of the ordinary. You're scanning for anything that you need to be aware of, right? And as I'm scanning and nothing is registering me as threatening, it's sending a signal to my nervous system that, like, you're safe. This is where you are in time and space, and you're safe. And so building in these moments, especially when you feel the overwhelm, you feel the anxiety, really consciously doing a pause, noticing the anxiety symptom. So let's say my heart's racing. Let's say I'm, I have to go have a conversation with somebody or something's happening, right? My heart is racing and I'm aware of it. And I drop into my body. And I also notice, my stomach's a little bit tight, a little churning, and my heart is racing. And I'm with it. And then I start to press my feet into the ground a little bit. And I'm noticing, okay, these are the symptoms I'm feeling. And also, my feet are on the ground. And then I take in my space. Oh, and this is where I am. And I'm scanning. And I'm noticing. And I'm giving this feedback to my system that, like, there isn't any threat in this moment. And this is where I am. And it allows the system to go from this to just a little bit of this, right? And all of a sudden, we don't feel super overwhelmed. And we don't feel that out of control, like, I don't know what's happening here, but I know I don't feel good. Your back in connection, right? We're drawing this connection to like, no, I am aware of what's happening and I'm also aware of where I am, right? And potentially, if you're in a situation where there is a threat or where there is something in your environment, a person or something, where you're like, oh, I'm responding to that. And then maybe that gives you the option to move yourself out of that situation or notice like, okay, source of my anxiety and stress is here and I'm going to orient over here. And taking in that information, your body's responding to something. Maybe that's what it is. And now we can work with it, right? When we have our awareness on our body and we are working together to really find ways to hang out in the green more, to find that expansion and to really feel better. Another thing that you can do as you're reminding your system where you are, you're tuning into the symptoms that are happening in your body and orienting to where you are. Two other powerful senses that you can tap into are smell or taste. And so this is another way to really give the system the experience of like, oh, right here, right now. And so whether I have like a perfume oil that I'll put on most days and I can always smell it. And it's just a very simple way for me to pull myself out of my thoughts, out of my experience. I have a smell and then it's like, oh, here I am, right? And it's a smell I like, which also invites expansion because I've trained my system to savor the things that I enjoy, which we're going to talk about next week, inviting expansion and safety. And then another thing is taste. So whether it's like you put in a piece of gum or you notice, you really just bring your awareness to a smell or a taste that really orients you in the here and now as you're connected to your system. And we are just taking these strides towards feeling better by reducing our anxiety and improving our mental health. And I'm so proud of you for sticking with me for 4 parts. We have 2 parts to go. And I'm so excited for our next section where we really talk about how do I not only start to naturally find some of that safety and that feeling good, how do I really invite it? And what are things that I can do to expand even more as we really build this connection with ourselves? So please join me next time for part 5. Like, subscribe. Please share this content with someone in your life who could use it. And I will see you next time. Take care.